ready? Good evening. Welcome to the business meeting of the Cave Creek Unified School District. Today is Tuesday, March 26th, and it is 6 p.m. Bella Wernicke will be leading our Pledge of Allegiance, so please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 1.1, roll call. All members of the board are present, and all members of the cabinet are present. Mrs. Rodriguez, Dr. Hendrickson, Dr. Jensen, and of course, Mr. Dolezal. Item 1.4, formal adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any thing needs to be moved, changes? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. All right, item 1.5, President's Report. Well, since we've had spring break, there was kind of a lapse in things going on, but I did have the opportunity to attend the barbecue at Desert Willow, and that was quite a fun event. And I also was at the recent Employee of the Month breakfast, and so I say congratulations to all our employees of the month, and thank you for all that you do for us. And that is my report. Item 1.6, board comments.
Okay, well, I'll just say that while everybody was on spring break, I got 2 weeks, so I got to spend the second week visiting some of our fine schools here. So, Ms. Richardson, thank you for opening up Lone Mountain to me, and I don't know if Mr. Owsley's here, but I got to tour Black Mountain as well, and stopped by Sonoran Trails for a little bit, but they were really busy with their barbecue. But it's always good to be out there and see the classrooms and talk to the principals. So that was really great. So thank you for that. I think I had more, but I can't remember. So that's it.
Yeah, I don't have a lot since the last meeting with spring break. I know a lot of campuses are started testing, so kudos to all those logistics that are going on there on campus, and make sure your kids' Chromebooks are charged. So.
I had the opportunity to attend the health fair that was at Cactus Shadows. That was interesting. And then went to and spoke at the Desert Sun Academy Career Fair to, I think it was the fifth graders. That was a lot of fun. They were squirrely and antsy, and it was fun to chat with so many of them that had already aspirations to what they wanted to do, and they had a lot of great questions. And so it was a great opportunity to do that. Then congratulations to Principal Jill Sariano, attended the middle school outdoor classroom opening. That was awesome, and congratulations to our superintendent as well, who helped facilitate that vision years ago, and it was fun to see how the community really came together to support that. So that was great. And then Friday attended the girls' tennis match. So that was a lot of fun too, and it was hot.
Can I add one thing real quick?
Yes.
Are you done? Okay, that was the other thing. It's been so long since we had a meeting that I was also able to do the Read Across America at Black Mountain, so thank you, Ms. Spigarelli, for that. Got to go to 2 classrooms, and my guide, a young gentleman by the name of Millen, was an amazing guide, and so I really appreciate him, so thank you always for that opportunity.
Anything else? Okay. Item 1.7, Superintendent's Report.
President Busby, members of the board, I had the pleasure of attending the Arizona K-12 Center's celebration for National Board Certified Teachers, where our very own Mrs. Amanda Seaman was recognized. What a great event that honors our NBCT teachers and the impact they make on the lives of their students. Quick congratulations to some Falcon wrestlers. We had 9 state qualifiers, Maddie Bemmer, Caleb Kelly, Josh Spitzberg, Jacob Duffy, Carter Bemmer, Ian Brubbs, Doug Kramer, Ty Pottinger, and Jack Finch. Cardi Bamer finished 3rd place in the 138 weight class. Jax Finch finished 4th place in the 190. And Ian Grubbs was our first state champion in Cactus Shadows history in the 144 weight class. So pretty Pretty cool. Also, congratulations to Falcon Cheer, who competed at the Cheer Nationals in Anaheim, California at the end of February. JV finished 6th in the nation, and varsity finished 5th in the nation. Like to remind you all that you are always invited to any of the spring sporting events. Cactus Shadows has track and field, baseball, softball, boys and girls tennis, boys volleyball, girls beach volleyball, and boys and girls lacrosse. Sonoran Trails has track and field and boys and girls basketball going on right now. I'd also like to remind everyone, as Member Walker pointed out, that we are starting the Arizona State testing season. I'd like to wish best of luck to all our students as they participate in the AASA, AZ-SCI, ACT, ACT Aspire, as well as AP and IB testing soon. Lastly, for my congratulations, I'd like to send a special shout out to Mrs. Marcy Rodriguez and the Business Services staff on receiving the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting from the Association of School Business Officials International. That was received for our department's fiscal year 2023 annual comprehensive financial report. CCUSD's continued participation in the Certificate of Excellence program is a testament to our commitment to transparency and high-quality financial reporting. Congratulations again to Mrs. Rodriguez and everyone in that financial department. And finally, I would like to introduce Bella Wernick, the Cactus Shadows High School Student Leader of the Month, on the dais with me this evening. Bella?
Hi, I'm Bella Warnick. I'm 18 years old, and I'm from Virginia, but I moved here in 7th grade. Moving to Arizona and changing schools was definitely difficult for me until the transition out of COVID, and then after that, school finally started to seem normal again. What I found was most special about Cactus Shadows was the amount of energy and enthusiasm from not only my peers, but my teachers. Everyone aspires to do their best and wants to help you succeed as long as you go to them for help. The community helped me realize how much I fit into this environment, and sports helped a lot as well. This fall, I will be attending the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, as I have been recruited to play Division I soccer there. I have dreams of possibly being a pilot or working in the Space Force. I plan to major in foreign area studies and minor in Portuguese, as my father's from Brazil. I'm so excited for all the different opportunities and experiences that will be presented to me in the near future. Thank you.
And that concludes my superintendent report.
Okay, awesome. Item 2.1, call to the public, and we have none. All right, item 3.1, our March Students of the Month. It is with immense pleasure and pride that we come together to celebrate the extraordinary accomplishments of some truly exceptional individuals, our Students of the Month. Each month, we are privileged to recognize students who exemplify the core values that define our district: perseverance, leadership, compassion, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. Tonight, we are not just honoring academic achievement, but also the qualities that make our students well-rounded individuals and future leaders. The renowned American author and poet Maya Angelou, who once said, "Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it." This sentiment perfectly encapsulates the essence of the students we are celebrating tonight. They have not only achieved remarkable success, but have done so with a genuine passion and a commitment to their craft. Our Students of the Month have shown us what it means to inspire excellence in everything they undertake. They have gone beyond their comfort zones, challenged themselves, and consistently demonstrated a willingness to learn and grow. They serve as beacons of inspiration for their peers and a source of immense pride for their families, teachers, and the entire community. Each student being recognized tonight has a unique story of dedication, hard work, and determination, whether it's in academics, arts, athletics, community service, or leadership. These students have set a standard of excellence that we all can aspire to. They remind us that greatness is not a distant dream, but a tangible reality that can be achieved through unwavering commitment and a passion for what we do. As we honor our Students of the Month, let us also remember that their achievements are not solely their own. Behind every successful student stands a network of supportive parents, caring teachers, and a community that believes in their potential. It is this collective effort together that nurtures the growth of these remarkable individuals. To the students being celebrated tonight, I want to offer my heartfelt congratulations. Your dedication, enthusiasm, and commitment are an inspiration to us all. You represent the very best of Cave Creek Unified School District, and we are excited to witness the incredible contributions you will make to our world in the years to come. All right. And with that said, okay. Our first student of the month is Kylie Castles from Black Mountain Elementary School. Kyle, I'm sorry, it's Kyle. Come on, Kyle. I apologize, it's been a long day. Kyle, I am so sorry and congratulations. Anna Mulligan from Lone Mountain Elementary School. Congratulations. From Horseshoe Trails Elementary School, Rose Minch. Congratulations. Kayla Godby from Desert Sun Academy. Brett Bohannon from Desert Willow Elementary School. Miley Fosdick from Cactus Shadows High School. Caitlin Hendrick, Cactus Shadows. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wait, we got one more. And Lucy Kai from Sonoran Trails Middle School is also one of our Students of the Month. However, Lucy is not here tonight as she is at her first track meet with Sonoran Trails and didn't want to let her team down.
All right, picture time, guys. And yes, parents, you can come up in the middle. You don't have to stay where you're at.
Congratulations and thank you to our Students of the Month. We are going to take about a 5-minute recess, so if you would like to leave, please feel free to leave now. And of course, if you'd like to stay, you are welcome. We good? All right. Item 3.2, the 2022-23 audit presentation presented by Mrs. Rodriguez.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. This evening, we want to share with you this amazing audit that we had. Thank you, Superintendent Dolzel, for your recognition. I myself am very proud of this audit, one of the best audits we've ever had in the history of the district. And much thanks goes to our Director of Finance, Susan Rees, who is unable to be here tonight, but she leads the team in making sure that we get all the information to our auditors and that everything is compiled. She's very organized. And then also all through the year makes sure that the staff and the schools are trained on compliance so that we can have these fantastic audits. So I just want to give them a big round of applause, if we may, for all the hard work that our schools and our finance staff does. So I have invited Jill Shaw. She is managing partner for Heinfeld and Meach, and I just want her to kind of go through the process that Heinfeld and Meach has for ensuring that they are validating and checking our practices to make sure that we are in compliance with all the state and federal laws. So I'm going to turn it over to Jill.
Right. President Busby, members of the board, thanks for having me here this evening. Before I get started, I would like to second what Marcy said with thanking the finance department and Susan and everyone that's in that department. We asked for what ends up being probably a few hundred documents during the audit process, so it's a lot that they get for us. They're very organized and they upload it to our portal, and all that preparedness helps us be able to do our jobs in a timely manner. So we really appreciate that. On this slide, to start us off, just has kind of a scope of what our services are. We do an audit in accordance with auditing standards, but because you're a local government, it's also in accordance with government auditing standards and uniform guidance, which are the federal regulations, because the district spends more than $750,000 in federal awards. So those are the kind of the three pieces of the audit. As a result of the audit, we also are required to complete this uniform system of financial records, the USFR compliance questionnaire. So that is, when you break it down, about 150 different questions that indicate a district's compliance with state statutes and those types of things. So we also, it's very compliance driven. So these are the various reports that are mentioned. I mentioned the USFR compliance questionnaire. Also issued are the annual comprehensive financial report. So that's the report that includes the audited financial statements and the independent auditor's report, as well as the single audit report is the report that's required because of spending those federal monies. In addition, there's a communication to governance letter that our audit standards require we issue, and you've been provided a copy of that, and a lot of the information in this presentation, it just goes over some of the information in that letter. As far as the audit timeline goes, it ends up being about a 9-month process. We start in the summer, and before the fiscal year ends, we look at, we come out and we call it preliminary field work because the books aren't closed. And during that visit, we look at a lot of the compliance-driven things. Then we come back out in October and we look at those final numbers once the general ledger's closed. And then in December, the audit report gets issued in time for the December 31st filing deadline to get those awards that you mentioned. And then in January and February, we wrap up the compliance pieces with the federal, the report that goes to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse, as well as the USFR compliance questionnaire that gets filed with the Auditor General's office. In the communication to governance, just some of the things that we're required to highlight is, first, whether there were any new accounting standards issued or implemented. This year, there was one that related to subscription-based information technology arrangements, or SPITAs as we refer to them, and that requires that districts now record a liability for any subscription agreements that are entered into for multiple years. So that was new. There are a few estimates in the financial statements, the biggest one being the pension estimate that's for ASRS. It's calculated by their actuary. So a very common estimate. We had no audit adjustments that we had to make this year. So that's a great indicator of how an audit went as well. That means that the numbers that were provided to us, we didn't find any significant misstatements in those numbers and thus didn't have to make any adjustments. The letter also indicates that we did not encounter any difficulties in performing the audit. We had no disagreements with management about how to apply accounting principles, those sorts of things. And at the end of the audit, management did sign the representation letter, which indicates that they're taking responsibility for the financial statements and that they've provided us everything that we need. And then in terms of our requirements, we're also required to be independent. So that's a big part of what we do in making sure that we're not auditing our own work. And so districts that are have strong financial policies and procedures in place allow us to keep that independence because we know management's doing what they need to do. We can just come in and do the audit. So that's definitely something we look at. Just some highlights from the first report. This is the largest report that gets issued, the ACFR, as we refer to it. It did include the independent auditor's report, which was an unmodified opinion this year, also known as a clean opinion on those financial statements. So that's great news. And for things like bonds and outside agencies, they will look at that for that language in that letter. Also, just to highlight some other pages, in addition to the financial statements, it includes management's discussion and analysis, which talks about why some of the numbers trended the way that they did. Also, the notes to the financial statements give a little more detail. And then the statistical section is actually not audited, but it does provide a good 10-year trend of a lot of the numbers, and you can see, the growth or just the way the district's changed over the last 10 years. In the single audit report, if we had significant findings that we call material weaknesses or significant deficiencies during the audit, they would have been reported in this report. So that's great that there's no findings in the single audit report. This report's broken down into two components. It's broken down into our any findings we have over internal control, because not only do we look at whether we found anything wrong, we look at the susceptibility of what can go wrong. So do we see, maybe weaknesses in internal controls and procedures that could lead to something bad happening? So we did not identify any findings in internal control. The report covers compliance. So if we had noted non-compliance with federal or state regulations, it would have been reported in this report. And each year we're required to rotate which programs we look at. This year we looked at the coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds and then the ESSER funds. So just some of that pandemic funding that is still being spent. The USFR questionnaire it breaks it down to a lot of smaller areas. So areas like cash receipts, procurement, student attendance. We noted some minor items in here, but overall, very few items. Something that this report gets submitted to the Auditor General's office, and they use it to determine whether a district is deemed to be in compliance with state statutes. So, and with the USFR. So that's great news that there wasn't a lot noted in this report. So overall, the audit results, I always tell boards that if we did not make any audit adjustments and if the report was submitted on time, those are the two of the best indicators of how an audit went. So the audit being issued back in December, it met all the filing deadlines for those ASBO and GFOA awards, as well as continuing bond disclosure deadlines. And the statutory deadline actually isn't until this Sunday. So it's also met that state deadline, the federal deadline, and is in really good shape to submit it all in all those agencies with a lot of time to spare. And something new that happened a couple of years ago is the state statutes were revised so that governing boards like yourself can see these audit reports and can accept those reports at the end of the audit. As I mentioned, management has already signed the representation letter taking responsibility of the audit. So this process is to ensure that boards see the reports and can accept those reports. But the audit has been done for some time now. But with that, I don't want to keep you too long, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about the audit process or things we look at.
I only have one question. When you were talking about the USFRQ, you said there were minor issues. What are minor issues?
So the USFR breaks down all the different areas, and it could be something as minor as, for example, cash receipting. The USFR requires that any cash receipts get to the bank within 10 days. So if it got there in 11 days, that would be something we would note in the report because it's a black and white. So there usually are more day-to-day, little things like that.
Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. Any other comments? Well, thank you for your report, and again, congratulations to the financial department for a job well done.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Item 3.3, 2024-25 Employee Medical Insurance Benefits Presentation, presented by Dr. Henriksen.
All right, good evening, President Busby, members of the board. Thank you for allowing us to discuss the upcoming benefits renewal that will be on the board agenda later this evening. Tonight I will be going over results of our renewal notice that we received back on March 1st, the steps we took once we got that renewal benefits, the new premium amounts, and then our recommendations from IBN. I do want to thank both Sandra Arden and Judy Hurst. They are our representatives from Meritain who are here this evening. They have been crucial as we've navigated this process with our premium increases and then looking at alternative solutions for benefits plans that will meet the needs of our staff. So to give you a little bit of a backstory, obviously with our budget cuts, that's taken a big into consideration as we look at our next steps with our benefits. So our medical benefits have increased this year. They did increase last year as well by 4%, but both a result of inflation and then increases in our claims is driving our benefits increases. As we all know, CCUSD is needing to cut just over $2.5 million, and so that's primarily being done through staffing cuts, and so any additional costs that we accrue is things that we have to look at and take into consideration, look for alternative solutions. So as I mentioned, with our increases this year, we're looking at a 10.5% increase, which is roughly just over $280,000 to our premiums. And with our budget cuts, that is something that is currently not within our budgetary capacity. And so that's where we came together as an IBN team to look at alternative solutions to see if we could reduce what those costs might be to the district and minimizing costs to our staff as well. To give you a little bit of back history on rates, so this past year we've offered 3 different plans to our employees, and so we have a high deductible A plan, a value bronze plan, and a classic silver plan. And the way that we fund our plans is we fund at the value bronze level. So any employee that chooses to be provided value bronze coverage, that's at $581 per month to the employee that is covered by the district. If they choose to upgrade to the classic silver plan, they would pay that premium difference between the $581 and the $778. And then we had the high deductible plan that was less than the $581. So the difference between those two, that is contributed to the employee's HSA at the amount of $258 annually. So that is what was done this past year. Looking at the increases for next year, we see that across the board, all of our 3 current plans have gone up. So, for instance, our Value Bronze, that was $581, that is jumping up to $642, Classic Silver to $859. And so as we met as an IBN team and with the help of Judy and Sandra, we looked at another option, another high deductible plan that had a little bit higher of a deductible, and that's a HDHPB plan. And so part of our proposal tonight will be looking at, as opposed to contributing at the Value Bronze price of $581, looking at contributing at the HDHPA plan, which is $618. So it's a little bit lower of a cost that the district is contributing compared to what it has traditionally, but more than year over year with those changes. So I'm going to go over those a little bit here. So as I mentioned, knowing that the the new rates will be coming out March 1st. Prior to that, we had gathered our IBN team. We had scheduled a meeting on March 7th to review the rate increases. We had both Judy and Sandra come out and review the rate increases with our IBN team, and then looked at what are our current plans, what are plan offerings with our current plans, and then some additional plans and what those plans look like. One of the things that they did that was very beneficial to the team is they went through different scenarios of what the cost to the employee would be depending on what plan you were on. So for instance, if you had a fracture, what would the out-of-pocket be if you were on the silver plan as compared to the bronze plan, or either of the high deductibles? If you were had a birth of a child, or if you were going through diabetes care. And so that really put real numbers in front of our team to go, well, I have a higher deductible with this plan, or I'm paying a high premium with this plan. At the end of the year, which is the best plan for me, given these different scenarios? And that was really enlightening. I will tell you, I even second-guessed the plan choice I made this past year, and have already discussed with Judy of my plan choice for next year and possibly what I'm going to switch. And really, it was that education and the education of our team, because anytime you are switching benefits and possibly offering a decrease in benefits or a high deductible benefits, there is that panic of that safety net that our staff has. But this was really informative to them, and seeing the difference in those and seeing that regardless of the plan that they are choosing, they still will be getting a high quality healthcare plan coverage. And really the goal at the end of the day is both IBN and the district administration, our focus was to provide either zero cost plans or very low cost insurance options for our staff. Plans that would fit all employee groups, not just our administrators or our teachers, but our hourly employees, because we know even the smallest increase has a financial impact to them. So we wanted to make sure we can continue to provide for those employees without hitting their kind of take-home pay as well. So from that meeting, the recommendations from that team was, again, instead of moving forward with providing the Value Bronze as the free plan, is contributing a maximum of $618.50 that would cover the HDHPA premium. And so then our employees will have three different choices to choose from, with a caveat on the fourth. So based off that $618 contribution, employees would be able to choose the high deductible B plan. And so just to give you a comparison of the two high deductible, the A plan has a deductible for single of $1,600, as where the B is $3,200. So it is a double of the deductible that they would have to meet in order to get that. Our going back to the B plan, that plan would be free with an annual contribution from the district of $300, because that is the lower plan than compared to the A. The A would be your free plan still again, but because it is funded at that $618 amount, there would be no contribution from the district, but of course our employees could contribute to their HSA plan there. Our Value Bronze plan, which is currently our most popular plan, the vast majority of our employees do take that. That would be a slight increase, and so they would have to pay that over all the 21 pay periods that we take it out of their paycheck from. So it would be $13.42 a paycheck, so an annual cost to that employee of just over $281. Now, with Meritain, we would only be allowed to provide 3 different plan options, but we did get permission because we did have about 44 employees that do participate in that Classic Silver. So we did get permission to grandfather them into that plan. So if they continue to want to choose that plan, they can continue to choose that plan. We will not be adding that to any new employees. And then once they leave that plan, they won't be able to go back to that. So I will say, though, I think the big thing why the vast majority of our employees choose that bronze plan, not only is it free compared to the high deductible, but I think we need to do a better job of educating them on the power of the HSA plans and the benefits to them. And so I know Patty, Dr. Jennings is a big fan of it. We've been talking about it, even talking with our teachers in IBN of how they maximize their HSAs and the tax implications for them. I think it really opened the eyes to a lot of people with that. And so I think in the past we probably didn't do as good of a job educating them on these 3 different plans, but that's going to be one of our goals moving forward, because I think at face value a lot of our employees will go, I'm used to the value bronze, now it's going to cost me. But really, when you look at those 2 HDHP plans, they're going to get some really great benefits. And in the event of a catastrophic event, they're going to be able to see how much of a difference that might be for them there. So our next steps here, number 1, governing board approval later on in this meeting to renew the plan for next year. We are also working with Colonial Life to offer additional employee voluntary supplemental insurance plans. So they provide accident insurance, hospitalization insurance, and dental insurance. Actually has twice the benefit as our current Delta Dental at the same price. And so that's going to be an additional offering that we would like to bring forward to our employees. Again, that's all voluntary that they can opt into. We would still continue our current short-term disability, life insurance, and Delta Dental that we do provide as well. Our open enrollment does begin April 8th through the 26th. We will have representatives from Meritain at 9 different meetings across the district to educate our staff on it, to be able to ask questions, understand where they would fall on each plan and what it means for them based on their current medical conditions or needs. We also have options for individual meetings if they have additional questions. And really, I talked about that earlier, really educate. The more that I've learned about it, the more that our IBN team learned out about it, really knowing that it's on us as the consumer to do our research, understand what plan best meets our needs. And I think our employees will be pretty satisfied with these plan options as well. So. With that, I welcome any questions regarding the proposal that will be coming forward later this evening, and then any very specific questions. We have Judy and Sandra to answer those because I'm not the expert there. So,
any questions? No, I would like to just make a comment. I appreciate the effort that was made to help educate staff, employees on the difference, because honestly, the more information that you can provide to staff it's really an indication that the district really cares. And so
Absolutely.
Thank you for doing
Absolutely.
that. Okay, moving right along. Item 4, action consent. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item 5, we have no old business. Item 6.1, election of a vice president. Former governing board vice president resigned effective March 1st, 2024 at 5 p.m. The board is now needing to vote on a new vice president to serve for the remainder of the 2024 calendar year. It is recommended that the governing board approve a vice president for the remainder of the 2024 calendar year. Need a motion?
Yeah, so moved.
Okay. Second? Somebody?
Second.
Okay. Are there any nominations?
I would like to nominate Brianna Walker for vice president for the remainder of the calendar year.
Second.
Are you willing to?
Yes. I accept. I don't know what.
Okay. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. You're our new vice president.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Okie dokie. Item 6.2, discussion and consideration to approve up to 3 governing board applicant names to recommend to the office of the Maricopa County School Superintendent Steve Watson, presented by me. Let's see, it is recommended that the governing board approve 3 to the Maricopa County Superintendent for the, oh, we're on the wrong thing here, aren't we?
I think that's right.
Oh,
Yeah,
for the open board seat. So we need a motion,
So moved.
a second.
Second.
All right. Do we have a recommendation?
The governing board would recommend the 3 names, Mr. Dan Moore, Mrs. Lori Hart, and Mrs. Andrea Calhoun, to be considered and sent to Maricopa County School Superintendent Steve Watson.
Discussions?
I just wanted to say that it was awesome to have so many people come out and ask to be willing to be a part of this body. They all showed real respect for this district and its students. So, it was a tough decision to make, but I do want to thank all the people that came out and applied for this.
I concur with that, and it really speaks to the enthusiasm that's in this district, and it's very uplifting because there is so much interest. So thank you to everyone. So, anything else?
Yeah, I just want to concur with that as well. It was really encouraging to see the enthusiasm, the education, the thought that a lot of people put into coming and speaking before us, answering the questions that we put to them, and having good questions for us too. So thank you to everybody. And don't forget, there's an election in November for those who want to be on it.
All right. With that said, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
President Busby and members of the board, first again, please allow me to also thank everyone who submitted a letter of interest for their time and desire to serve our community, our staff, and most importantly, our students. Just so everyone understands, this is just our governing board's recommendation to the county superintendent. We will be sending everyone's name who submitted a letter of interest to the Maricopa County Superintendent of Schools. And ultimately, Superintendent Watson will make the final appointment to our board effective through December 24. As Member Ulmer indicated, we will have 3 4-year term seats and 1 2-year term seat on the November 2024 ballot.
Okay. All right. Item 6.3, approval of the Trust Model Policy Program, Chapters 3 and 4, presented by Mr. Dolezal.
President Busby, members of the board, on October 24th, 2023, the board unanimously voted to start the process of moving to the Trust Model Policy Program starting July 1 of 2024. That began our work of crosswalking our current policy to the new one. The Trust Model Policy Program is rooted in state and federal law and crafted by expert Arizona education and litigation attorneys from several law firms around the state. Since we are moving to a policy drafted by the groups of attorneys that know educational litigation best, we are putting our district in the best position to limit our liability moving forward. On February 16th, the board was sent drafts of Chapters 3 and 4, along with the crosswalk that helped us review our current policy to determine if we needed or wanted to keep anything. Chapter 3 policies cover business operations, and Chapter 4 policies cover human resources. At the February 27th meeting, the board had the opportunity to comment, ask questions, make recommendations for district leadership to consider, run through legal, and bring back documents for approval tonight. District administration moves that you approve Chapters 3 and 4 of the Trust Model Policy Program for implementation July 1st of 2024 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments?
Well, as on the other ones, I wanted to thank them for it was about 250 pages of policy. I was going to ask if maybe Mr. Dolezal could read those to us tonight, but well, maybe not. But I did want to just thank for all the work that this board is doing or the committee is doing to go through these, because looking at the old policies, going with the new ones, and making these things that are, I appreciate that effort. So because when you look at these, you're not always sure what you're seeing, but you got a good idea of it. But the main thing, like I mentioned before in the last one, is you trust the process. And I appreciate the efforts that the committee is going through to do this, because it's got to be monumental effort. So I appreciate that.
Yes, I concur with that. I do have one, I guess, comment in Chapter 4, section. I guess it's Chapter 4, 108, under the alternate work location. On item D, it references policy GBEF, and that's our existing policy. So do we need to correct that?
President Busby, thank you for catching that. So yeah, that is part of one of our procedures. So I will go ahead and make that adjustment. It'll reference 108, I believe. And then because it's a procedure, we wouldn't need to bring that back to the board. I'll just be changing that within that procedure.
On item H, it's the same policies are referenced, the
Perfect.
GBC, GBGC, and GBGC.
After 200 pages, I missed one. Thank you for catching.
Well, I'm surprised that I caught it, because you get a little
cross-eyed.
So, anyway.
Thank you.
Well, and members of the board, I would just like to point out, again, those are procedures, and that was, we had indicated and talked about how some of these next ones we would be bringing over policy. That was one of our current policies that's come in very handy, has been appreciated by staff, so we wanted to actually bring that over. We will continue to iron those out and make sure those procedures are set, so thank you.
That's why so many people look at it.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Item 6.4, acceptance of the 2022-23 Single Audit Annual Comprehensive Financial Report and Compliance Questionnaire, presented by Mrs. Rodriguez.
Yes, thank you, Madam President, members of the board. As Jill Shaw shared with you earlier, just the process of this, and then part of the process is for the governing board to accept these reports that have been presented to you. I know you all have had lots of time to review those reports. I know they're very interesting. And so you have hard copies of them in front of you this evening as well. And again, I just would like to express how much we really appreciate the work that all of our staff does that goes into this. And it's not just at the audit time. This is the work that we do all year round. And there's a lot of people involved in making that happen. Thank you, President Busby, for asking the question about what is minor. And so they are, insignificant things from the perspective of how well the district is running. For instance, maybe a child's attendance was calculated 0.25 less than what they actually attended or more. It's just very minor things like that. And I just want to assure you that anything that is on this compliance questionnaire, we do take it serious. We look at what that finding is, and we put some procedures in place to prevent the same thing from happening next year. So that is always our goal. We use this as a learning tool. And but I am very proud to present this to you this evening. And so I would like to recommend that the governing board publicly accept the single audit, the annual comprehensive financial audit report, the compliance questionnaire by a roll call vote.
Okay. We need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Okay. Vice President Walker?
Aye.
Member Fortney?
Aye.
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 Okay. Motion passed. Item 6.5, approval of medical benefits for the 2024-25 school year, presented by Dr. Henriksen.
President Busby, members of the board, it is administration's recommendation that we move the governing board approve the medical benefits for the 24-25 school year as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item 6.6, approval of Colonial Life supplemental and dental benefits for 2024-25, presented by Dr. Henriksen.
President Busby, members of the board, we move that the governing board approve the Colonial Life supplemental and dental benefits for the 24-25 school year as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item 7.1, upcoming calendar events presented by Mr. Dolezal.
President Busby, members of the board, just like to point out that March break is this Friday, March 29th, and all district offices and schools will be closed. Rock the District, with the return of the Three Amigos as MCs, is Saturday, April 13th at 6 p.m. Our next CCUSD Business Partners Breakfast is at the Holland Center at 7:30 a.m. on April 17th. And our Inspire Excellence Awards at the Cactus Shadows Fine Arts Center is April 24th at 6 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Item 8, adjournment. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, meeting is adjourned at 6:56.